ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to SBR Racing. My name is JB and I'll be taking you through tonight's proceedings, and this is an entirely new season. So the Escaped Lunatics are all back for racing here at SBR, and I'm very much looking forward to taking us through this new event that is the J Series. Yes, we've swapped out the Mazda MX-5s and gone for another Japanese car. Welcome and meet the Toyota SF Gazoo racing concept, which is a vehicle of horrendous proportions and power. And now we're going to have some fun as we head to the qualifying. New format, new drivers, new bit of fun, but some of the same old faces. Welcome to Fuji Motor Speedway for this first event of the season. So drivers already heading out on track. We'll find out who they are in just a moment as we change out. Try and change out things. So Rob is now in the white. Oh, we have a driver that isn't wearing the correct gear. Some names are new, so do give me time to remember them and find them out, but we still have some of the new original crew. Look at this amazing bunch, and I believe that's Fred coming out in his Toyota already. Driver stops at turn 1 here at Fuji Motor Speedway. Interesting fact about Fuji Motor Speedway. How many times can you say it in one go? This track was built for NASCAR originally, something I didn't know about. But yes, it was built for NASCAR. And yeah, it was Sterling Moss that convinced them to not make it into an oval, to make it into something else. Yeah. Or to make it into this. So hence the name Fuji Motor Speedway. So let's see what everyone can do as we head towards the qualifying. Try and find out who's on target to be on the first driver on track, and that is going to be John. So just bear in mind, I do not have the name of all the drivers as of yet, so we will be just doing our best to find out who's where and who's doing what. So this is John, the Greek driver, ready and raring to go. The first onboard shots of this Toyota. What an amazing car. So the SFR racing concept. It's a big engine car, and it's a bit more powerful than the Mazda. I voted for the Alpine A110, but I didn't get that. And now off to drive us down this start-finish straight here at Fuji towards a very difficult turn 1. It's a long start-finish straight, really long. Thank God we don't do someone into pit lane already. I think that's Fiona into pit lane at full speed, but then braking hard for turn 1 is going to be John with number 12 car. What can he show us to do? He had some great speed in the Mazda, but a lot more downforce in this car. Maybe that will help him out in the blue car. So driving around Coca-Cola Bend now, flicking it to the left and trying his hardest to keep on the track. Again, that downforce really helping out with his Toyota. This is Toyota's home track, I believe built for Toyota, so we'll see what everyone can do. Jump in and just take a look at the chat. Everyone pushing on as hard as they can here in qualifying. It's kind of a long lap. Everyone wanting to show off, wanting to make it there. Let's see what we can do. Up through the tight and twisty section now. What can John do in his car? We will get another lap in for John. I think some of the drivers further back may not. Have a couple of new names showing off in the group, so we'll see what we can catch up with. I think we might just resort to going for the standard names as we know them. So here we go, following on the zip line, number 12 car. That looks amazing. That's that Toyota. He heads towards the line. First representative lap here in the J Series. Where's he going to be? He's going to be obviously in P1, but he's going to be a 146.6. Is he going to be bettered by Bazanga? I believe that's Chris. Lots of drivers pushing on. Hatterland going into P2 in the orange car. That's a proper Dago. Well, that's a Dago red car, isn't it? Where's Robin all of this? Last season just losing out to the championship by a few points to Luke Mitchell. And Rob, unfortunately, currently 9th. The Japanese driver, or the Japanese local driver, Raccoon, is currently in P3. No livery on that car though, so we'll call him the standalone driver until he gets his own livery. Let's take a look at Dill Price. Dylan Price returning to us for another season, this time with the black. I love that colour combination actually, the black and the copper looks absolutely fantastic. It's probably gold, but check out Wilson, 2nd season in league racing, looking to show off. Ooh, that's a love. I haven't seen any of these liveries yet, so I'm critiquing him at the same time. He's looking very excited. I think he's trying to get past Vienna. There's Fred. Hi, Fred. Trying to get past Vienna as best he can, but doesn't look like he'll be able to. He pushes on. Yellow flags are waving. Fiona coming into the chat saying that she's happy to start at the back. That's always good. See if someone's happy now with the last 2 minutes of qualifying. So qualifying over, we're going to keep looking at other drivers. Already something in the chat there, I believe, between Chris and Raccoon. So these drivers looking like they might have a bit of a problem. That was Richie who was Raccoon. Okay, I will alter that. Just checking in the in our little group chat we have. No, so it's Paris. Paris, yes. So Paris is in the Raccoon. We'll make sure that we know what's going on there. Already some bitter rivalries forming in the chat. We'll check out who's where sooner rather than later. So Kale also without a livery, so that's going to get quite disappointed to try and find out who he is. He's currently in P9. Bazanga, who's in the black car there, the 66, I believe is Chris. He's currently in P10. But pole position currently is going to go to John, and he's looking to improve on where he started last season and start off very well at the top step of the podium. Won't be long till we see that though. Will not be long at all. Stacked grid. Very, very powerful grid tonight. Check in. So 11 is Richie. 12 is Wilson. 13 is Bring It. And 14 is Fiona, starting with the purple highlights, the white and purple car. Fill in the gaps though. P4 is TNR Philo. So the British driver looking to improve on his positions. The 65 car, currently P4. Then there's Fred in P5. 6 is, I'm never saying that on stream. Yeah, not saying that on stream. I don't fancy getting sorted out. Yes, let's just check. Doesn't look like they haven't changed that in the chat, so potentially could be Leon. I believe it might be Leon there in the we will call him as qualifying ends. Call it that. There's the full grid there, the all 14 drivers looking to show off what they can do. Into race 1, a new format for this series. We have got 3 races here in Fuji. They flash their lights. Oh, ladies, put your shirts down. And now we're going to push on as much as we can. So P1 is John, P14 is Fiona, and we will see what all the drivers can do to have some fun here at Fuji Motor Speedway. So get these graphics off and get some fun lined up. Engines don't rise as we see the lights come on here in Fuji. 5 lights all set up. The lights are on and they're off racing here for the J Series for the first time in Fuji. And already an aggressive slipstream there as you see the Raccoon. What can he do as he tries to put it at the inside? Oh, lots of bumping and bashing into turn 1. Definitely touring car racing. Into P1 is Hatter Lad, who's already taken the lead away from John. And so Hasselad trying to push on as much as he can. Everyone's coming through. Some drama there for the pink car at the back and flicking right through Coca-Cola. Hasselad leads after turn 1 ahead of John and Philo. Raccoon dropping down. Lots of bumping and bashing into turn 1. And they're all going to be sliding out wide there. The tyres are going to be really screaming already as we look at these Toyotas all come filing through. 14 powerful cars wanting to show off, and with the exception of Luke Mitchell, who obviously was promoted last season to show off himself up into another upper division, he's going to come back and watch his races hopefully and see what his future competitors are going to be like. So John trying to get through there. You see some slight moves from Fred into the chicane. The chicane is quite difficult. Oh, someone's reset. Is that Rob? It looks like a mistake for Rob on lap 1, the opening lap. This is obviously a 10-minute race as we're watching John trying to fight through, trying to get past Hasselad once more. Into the final corner now, this sweeping right-hander, got to hold the car. It's going to naturally try and pull itself out wide, but it's not going to be able to. Philo drops out wide and into turn 1. Let's go on board with and already there's some regressive weaving here from Hasselad, and personally I don't agree with that. The entire train of cars all weaving slightly as Hasselad already causing trouble in race 1. Philo in P3, remember, the more aggressively they drive, the closer Philo will get to them. And we will see what all these drivers can do. It seems at every straight that we see Hasselad on, he seems to be weaving just a little bit, trying to get out of the slipstream of John as he now filters up wide. Take a look further down the field in just a moment though. We drop down to look at Fred. This is the battle for P1, obviously the top 5. Oh, and wide goes Raccoon. And lots of drivers all making move there for, I believe that's Philo on John. Up the inside, brilliant move there if he can hold it out into the chicane, braking hard now, the lights come on. I think Philo's done it, yes, well done to Philo for making a quality move there at a place you wouldn't expect an overtake to be done. Let's drop back and take a look at who's in P7 right now, and that's Chris with the black and yellow highlights as he's trying to push on and battle against Richie. Some of the new drivers here, all trying to put on a good show already. You see Fred in P6 trailing this battle there, and wide goes the white car. Not sure who that was Raccoon himself, so Raccoon's under pressure. Once more, shall we just check out what's going on here? And then side by side is Philo versus John along the main straight, and that's what we could have got on lap 2 if we'd seen that without weaving. Pushing hard into turn 1, flashing lights already. I'm not sure why he's flashing, you're in P1. Side by side further back though, I believe that's the battle for P8. Yes it is, it's Chris versus Richie. So both drivers swapping positions, no harm, no foul. Let's take a look further back. Here's Cale in the solid white car ahead of Rob, who seemed to have a bit of a nightmare on around lap 1. Dennis Wilson with a 3/10 penalty is going to have to slow down. Dale Price is in P12 ahead of Bring It in P13, who seems to be driving very slowly. Or is that just me? Try and see if I can get some footage. No, he is driving at full speed. That's just me then, thinking that he's driving slow. P14 is Fiona, if I can find the correct button to press it. P14 is Fiona, so she's struggling a bit there in the pink car. Unfortunately, she seemed to is going to have to take some time to get used to it. The 69 car. Whoa, way off the track is Fiona. Struggling there, the only female in the series, but still. All wanting to show off as best as she can, and I think she's got the best looking car on the grid because I like pink. And is that a problem? No, because pink is cool. It's a tough decision to see who's got the best car on the grid this season. They all look fantastic. They all do look absolutely fantastic as they now ride down for the 4th time here along the start finish straight. What can we do? They're all looking to show off as much as they can. Hattelad leads by 1.2 seconds. Let's try and see if we can spot a battle on the straight. Anyone going to go for a quick dive bomb, cheeky dive bomb into turn 1? Fred considering it. But it seems like Raccoon's just got a little bit too much speed for Fred to try and marvel. I think Fred's car's a little bit much for me with the green wheels. Pick a colour, Fred. Oh, Fred just destroying that that board there. As I punch the microphone, best not do that. Fred with his 7/10 penalty there as we take a look at it. And a lot more chat interaction in this race. Wonderful to hear that from the chat. I can always keep track of the chat on my phone. I'm always seeing what the fans or the viewers would like to see during the races. So shout out if you want to see something, shout out if you also have a question for anything, we will answer that. But currently in the race, pushing on as hard as he can is Fred. Can he make a move on Raccoon? He's up the inside, he's got enough of a car alongside for Raccoon to know he's there, but Raccoon with more power is going to try and do it on the switchback. And that's the beauty of these cascading turns, these wonderful turns you don't get in racing anymore with the new tracks. Just lovely turns uphill and then climbing up, and the car's just having to filter out wide, and Raccoon a little bit offline has lost 2 positions in 1 corner. Now let's jump back up for the lead of the race, who seems to be under pressure from Philo once again, weaving once more. So Philo in the yellow car looking to chuck it up the inside. Can he make a move? He's holding it right there. Can he? He's alongside now. Is he going to try and swing underneath Hattelad? He's going to get it done. Hattelad's running out wide. Now side by side on the run towards turn 2. And he has got it. Philo leads for the first time in SBR. And he is really showing off now. 2 current rookies, 2 debutantes in the series. Well, everyone's a debutant in this series because there's a change to the current series. But 2 debutantes in the 3rd tier series of SBR, and is really showing off as much as they can. You want a big shout out for Superfan Crystal? You said that. Maybe I'll get a driver to say that. As we see now, Philo leads, and see Raccoon is really battling hard with the likes of Fred and everyone else there side by side with Richie. Richie just keep it on the inside. Raccoon aggressively to the inside line, trying to keep a hold of it, but he cannot do it. Drop here, and there you see Kale passing up the inside of Chris. I believe he's Chris. Again, if I get the names wrong, it's all down to Rob. Blame Rob. Speaking of Rob, here he is in P10. Looking to make moves on one of these drivers. He wants to make a move past Kale. Can he do it? I don't think he's going to make it as of yet. He's going to try. He's completely boxed in, unfortunately, is Rob. Let's go on board with him. Oh, and there's a little punt there between the 2 Toyotas. And now we see the power of Slipstream here into turn 1. What can Rob do as he tries to make a move on Kale? Trying to pass Chris as well. Keeping an eye though on the battle at the top. Doesn't seem like anyone's going to make a move as of yet. See, now this little bit of weaving I'm okay with. With the aggressive weaving we saw from Hattelad, I wasn't too partial on. 3 wide into 1 though. Who can prevail? Is it the vice champion of last season, the Mazdas? Oh, a big mistake though. He's wide, and at one point he was ahead of 2, but he's now behind both. Putting as much time and effort in, and Rob struggling, the 14 car struggling to get through these 2 traffic drivers. The 66 is going to have to give way at some point, and Rob's thinking, for God's sake, he's been pushed out wide. There's a little bump there that could go to Stewards. I don't think it will go to Stewards though, door against door, and Rob is through finally. And Kale, his old nemesis, well, it's seen that we saw as this is the final lap of the race. We'll catch up with who's where. Currently, Philo is racing hard against Hattelad. Is Philo going to be the first winner of season 2 of the J Series, his first time out here in Japan? It does look like Philo's going to do it. Philo putting as much pressure now on as he can. He slips it up round the final corner. No problems there. He is going to beat out Hatalad unless Hatalad has some amazing exit. No, with 0.5 of a second separating the two of them, it seems that Philo is going to win the race, and he is going to win the race. He crosses the line in just a few meters time. There it is. He crosses the line. Philo is our first winner in the J Series. It's Philo from Hatalad, from John, from the name I cannot say on stream, the 251 car, ahead of Richie, ahead of Fred, ahead of Raccoon, ahead of Kale, who just beat out Rob. Look at how close those two were. Rob in P9 ahead of Chris, who's in P10. Then there's Dill Price in P11, Wilson in P12, 13 is Bringett, who's taking his time to get to the line, and 14 was Fiona, who just finished out, I think struggled after a early collision. Oh, that was fun. It's been a week off and these drivers are driving like they've had years off. Nah, it's all alright. So, Philo lifting up his crown with the Carnage helmet. Now we might have a little break so I can collect my thoughts before the next race. So we'll wait to see the official word from our good friend Rob. Tell you what, I miss having my long beard because my stubble is just playing against my microphone. It really sucks. There you go. Things that aren't normally said in the motorsport commentary. But that was definitely fun, and I'm looking forward to the season even more. Richie says shout him out. More shout outs for drivers. Richie gets a shout out if he drives faster. For the next race is in a couple of minutes time, 3 minutes time. So I will just leave you for 3 minutes. I will return, close up the microphone for just a few minutes. We will see the drivers all again at 25 past, which is in just 3 minutes. So in just a minute's time we'll be heading back onto track for the second race of the series. We're going to be doing a 15-minute race, so if any driver fancies popping out, we'll have a check and do a little look at that livery. But we will see. Oh, it does seem like we had a driver out there for a moment. But yeah, so the second race of the season is just about to pop out. So we do have Philo already going out. Race 1 winner is popping out already. Yeah, first race I think went pretty well. No major incidents from what we saw. But I think this time we're going to have a different grid. Fido already going out. So the Carnage man with the Carnage helmet. I think we're definitely going to see some more fun and more robust racing. In the first race, that was very good, but I think drivers are going to starting to feel out who they got problems with. Every driver's got a problem with someone at some point. I mean, now when I raced a long time ago, everyone always had a problem with me because I was always in commentary half the time. And so, drivers putting on pressure now. Let's try and... So we go ahead to the race. I'm loving this. I'm glad you're enjoying this, Fiona. So lots of drivers getting ready to head to racing. Let's check out who else is on track. It seems that we have Phil Wilson on track. Phil Wilson, who previously drove a steel grey and I think turquoise car, which seemed very enjoyable. Just waiting for a couple of drivers to log in. So that's Chris and Raccoon to sign in for the race. If they don't sign in, they don't get to race. That is the rules. There's a big book that Rob normally throws at people and then asks me to throw it back because I'm next to them. There might be some minor livery updates needed because that Pendragon livery on the side seems to struggle a bit in the sunlight. See, we've got the sun is out now here in Fuji for race 2. Well, I'm glad that he's enjoying it, and I'm glad that you're enjoying it as well. I'm glad that everyone enjoys the streams. I mean, I haven't streamed properly and enjoyed streaming as much as I do with SBR for a long time, but now I'm enjoying it a lot more, and I'm still here. Believe it or not, we had a week off between seasons, and I still didn't feel like it was a week off. I have my Friday, and then I'm off to work later. Oh, joy. Save me. So, delayed start as we're waiting for drivers to log in. Now we're starting the final now. So, a 15-minute race here. So, slightly more of a feature. We've had the opening race. Now I believe it's time for the feature race. Let's take a look for race 2 here at Fuji Motor Speedway. Starting on pole is Fiona, so she lied about being at the back. Fiona is ahead of Bring It, who's ahead of Wilson, who's ahead of Dill Price, who's ahead of Chris, Rob, Kale, Raccoon, Fred, Richie, and then we have all of the top finishers at the back of the grid. We'll quickly whip all of this off and get it back on now for the race. So Fiona leads us away. Race 2 is underway now. It's a good start at the back from what I believe was Hatterman. So Fiona on the drag race now with Chris. It seems Chris has got a better start than Fiona. What can happen into turn 1 though? Can Fiona get it right on the brakes? Braking hard now with everyone filtering through. Fiona doing a great job there, but Dill Price doing the best job there, up into P1 already. Fiona swallowed by the field. Little bit of a mistake there. Oh, and sideways snap there from the purple car as we're looking at Hatterman, who's currently boxed in the field, all trying to filter through. Dylan Price leads ahead of Rob, ahead of Raccoon, and there is Mount Fuji, and someone's made a mistake, someone's been filtered out wide. And it doesn't seem like we have any trouble so far. Keep an eye on who's everyone's where, and look at the gaggle of cars going through here. Remember, there's 15 minutes of racing, 5 minutes more extra, as everyone tries to push on. Further back you see the 2 black cars fighting with Phil Wilson. We'll jump in and take a look. Who is that? That's the 251 car versus Wilson. And no contact there, as there wasn't really much room given. And then the 12 car of John is getting packed in as well. He's off the track, is John, with the damage on the rear end. That's not going to do the car any good. They all try and come through up the hill. And then John, who seems to have a time penalty, onto the start finish straight for the first time in this race. He's going to start to power on as quickly as possible. So the slipstream effect is now in effect. Dylan Price still leads away. And now we're going to see this gaggle of cars going to pop out. Who's going to be quickest? So you see Wilson trying to overtake the 251 car. And then you see up the inside, oh my god, are we going to go 5 wide into 1? Surely not. And someone braked early, that was 251 and a huge collision! Philo making contact there. And we'll try and check that back out in just a second. We'll go on board with Philo. Here's the replay camera. Philo just braking hard normally. There's 251 on the outside. He comes in and just makes contact, and just too many, trying to get to the apex when there's too many cars in the same way. Back to live racing here at Fuji though. Let's jump up, and Rob leads with an 8/10 penalty, so he's probably punted someone off. No, I wouldn't say that. Rob with an 8/10 penalty, with an 8/10 gap behind him. He is now going to be under pressure from Dill Price when he takes that penalty, and there you see Raccoon trying to chuck it up the inside in a solid white car. I think Raccoon might have a penalty as well. No, just ghosting out of fear. Further back, you see Chris fighting hard, but there you see at the inside comes Raccoon. Can Dylan Price hold him back? Dylan Price with a second season under his belt after racing the Mazdas. These cars are nothing compared to the Mazdas. They have more grip, more downforce, more power, and it's a completely new concept for SBR. Further back, you see Hatterad up the inside. But Hatter getting ghost attacked by Chris. And Chris with power now onto the start finish straight. Who is going to lead between these two? Let's go on board. See drivers all filtering through already. Lots of damage on the back of Hatterad. Paintwork damage though. Side by side there's a drag race up further ahead between Dill Price and Raccoon. Raccoon looking to be taking the better run there. Up the inside though pulls Chris. What can Chris do as he has to break into one at some point? There's the braking lights all light up. Who's got a better run though? It's Chris versus Hatterad, and whoa, Chris going well over my camera. Rob still leads ahead of Raccoon in P2 and Dill Price in P3. The battle currently for P4 is electric here with 10 minutes to go. And a penalty for Chris is going to seriously hurt him. Oh, if he can take that. Oh, I don't know how he's going to take that. It's going to be interesting. There's Philo trying to make it up the inside of Hatterad. Can he do it up the inside? There's going to be a slight bit of contact there. Remember, this is touring car racing. This isn't Formula 1. You can bump, you can bash, but make sure you don't go crunch. As soon as it goes crunch, then you have to worry. John versus Hatterad versus 251. I'm still not calling him that name. At the inside goes John. He's made a good move, passing a few drivers there, and then there's Philo, and now, oh dear, 251 getting forced off, and Philo getting a snap of oversteer. If this race ever calms down, we'll take a look at other drivers. 251, no, sorry, Philo passing 251, and then bumping and bashing, and this is exactly how touring car racing is. And already you go. Hatterad now up into P6. What can Philo do as he tries to overtake him? See the cars dipping slightly as they change gear. Lots of movement on the back of Hatterad. At some point, Philo has to make a move. He's bumping. Oh, he's bump drafting him. Trying his hardest to get up to pass him. Now into turn 1, you see Chris trying to pass. No, sorry, John trying to pass Chris. Dill Price under pressure from John himself. My apologies. Oh dear, it's all gone wrong for John. He's broken himself. He's now in this pack. He's well and truly in trouble. This is a bit of bother here for the Greek driver. All flicking around Coca-Cola Bend. And they are all really putting as much pressure on each other as possible. Look at this. Flitting through, what can they do? And amazing drives from all of this. This is most of the pack here. If they keep battling, Fiona will catch up as well, and she'll get involved. And there, Philo going way off the track. He's going to cause trouble if that. Oh, that might be a bit of a danger for a join from Philo. But we'll see what the stewards think if we do go to the stewards, of course. At the inside comes John. He doesn't think that he can make a move here. He's going to try. Philo is hard at work to keep Dill Price behind him. And there, oh, look at that. 3 cars connecting into the right-hander. Philo leads out of it, and there's Hatalad taking all the curves and more. Track limits seem to not be a problem for Hatalad this race, as he tries his hardest to get his way through. They're battling harder than all the kids at school trying to get to the pot noodle stand, and there at the inside goes, well, with help, is the 251 car. With a lot of help from Hatalad there, a little bit of a bump draft through the corner. And meanwhile, this has gone from the battle for P5 to the battle for P2. Side by side is Richie versus Raccoon, I believe. So what can Richie do as he's under pressure from Dill Price? Richie in the car furthest to the left, and then further back you see Hatalad trying to outbrake everyone. And he's off the track, lots of drivers off the track, and Hatalad's going to make a mistake. If he can catch it, he gets the award for biggest catch of the moment, and he does get it. Under pressure though is Kale up the inside. Kale, a seasoned driver, and unfortunately did not make it through, did the South African. Raccoon though, with a 2.9 second gap between him and Rob. There's John in P8 battling hard with a 3/10 time penalty. He has to serve that. And crikey me, we've still got 6 minutes to go of this race. So drivers all putting as much pressure on one another as possible. John at the inside of two drivers, and no, that didn't go as planned. Let's take a look at that again. So we're trying to go with the inside of Dill Price here, and yeah, he outbroke himself. He got it wrong, but ended up making contact with Chris, and Chris could take that to the stewards, I think. He ended up losing a position from it. Ended up losing nearly 2 positions, I think, with Hatalad there. Just a mistake there from John, I believe, as John just lost the brake pedal. There you see side by side is Hatalad versus Chris. And then John coming back at them. Some people going aggressive towards pit lane. We've got drivers into pit lane. We've got Raccoon into pit lane. Hatalad. See, oh, did Hatalad go into pit? Yeah, I don't agree with that. If you're going to go into pit lane, you've got to make sure you make it obvious you go into pit lane rather than stay on the outside of the track. I think my chat's seriously messed up apparently on my on the thing. Apparently there's 37 messages. I'm not seeing any new messages coming through. John making up the inside there. We'll catch up. Where's Rob? You know what? Just for argument's sake, let's take a look at this. So Rob is okay. I'm not sure why those drivers are pitting then, because it seems like Rob's going to make it to the end of the race on fuel. Raccoon, who was the first to pit, is currently in P7. So what can these drivers do as they start to put on more power? It seems that we do have a driver at the back of the grid in pit lane. Oh no, it's Chris. Okay. Have we had a disconnection? We may have lost Fiona in this race. It's a shame if we have. 14 drivers, so currently some drivers have pitted, which is a bit confusing why they have pitted. So Philo, who was one of those pitters, currently in P8. Let's check it with Rob, see what he's going to do. So drivers all putting as much power on now. There's Rob heading into pit lane. Rob is heading into pit lane, and Rob making it obvious he's heading into pit lane, going across that line there. And that's what we need. Proper, structured move saying, I am going into pit lane. Understand that. Richie also into pit lane. Chris also into pit lane, knowing how to use pit lane. Well, a little bit aggressive there, but I think he kept 2 wheels on. John leads, though, ahead of Kale. Ahead of Fred, but Fred, the old lad, is off to try and do his best to overtake Kale. The black car with the pink highlights and the green highlights. If you could get any more punk rock, I'd like to see you try. Through all of this though, Rob is still ahead of Raccoon, and Richie is ahead of Raccoon as well. So Richie did a great job there. We're quicker in pit lane. The number 13 car currently in P2. Pardon my yawns. They're nothing to do with the races. It's just down to being incredibly tired from work. I've still got to go in later. So John leads by 2.1 seconds ahead of Fred, who's in P2. Fred is putting as much pressure on him, but I believe we'll see these drivers heading to pit lane very, very soon. Try and catch up with some more of the battling that's happening further down the field. It does seem like the drivers have all calmed down just by a moment there. The pit stops have really helped out. Hatterlad with a penalty there. He's going to have to lose some time. Chris versus 251. 251 at the inside, and Chris is going to have to give up the position. 251 just giving too much power to him. But then a mistake for 251 on the escape, on the way up the inside, and oh yeah, that gap was always closing for Chris, and I don't think that could have been done in any other way. And a 5/10 penalty for Chris. Any penalty for the driver in front though? Nope. Good. Into pit lane, pulls John. Fred will lead. He's got 2 minutes to go. Let's check out his fuel status. He could still do it. He could still win this race. What can Fred do though, as he starts to put as much power on as possible to try and stay ahead of Kale? Rob currently in P3, looking to make a win out of these races. The drivers all piling on as much pressure on everyone as they can. Fred's still doing his best. Right said Fred, as he starts to put on as much power and as much willingness into his car. Kale under pressure from Rob. Rob has swung it around the outside. Can he get two? Surely not. No, he can barely get Kale, because Kale is coming back at him. Rob was a little bit off the track there, side by side, for almost half a track there. And look at the whip they gave each other there, worried they might lose the control of the car. Rob in P2 now, doing his best to try and catch up with Fred. Let's drop back and have a look at this battle. Oh, hello, Curses popped up, say hello. Don't want that, we're going to go put him over there. The drivers doing their best to show off as quickly as possible. Remember, only 48 seconds left of the race. We may get one more lap. I think we will get another lap. So Fred, he's willing it. He could try backing up the pack, but that could be detrimental. He's got 35 seconds to potentially win this race, but Rob getting a better exit with fresher tyres. Rob is going to run down with 30 seconds on the clock. We are going to get another lap, I believe, as Fred is going to try his hardest to reclaim this P1. He's got meters to go. We will get one more lap. Oh no, it's all gone wrong for Kale, who had to pit on the final lap. 10 seconds to go of the race. There's Richie up the inside looking for his first podium in SBR, but Fred isn't giving that away. Fred looking for his many podiums, but looking to improve. He struggled in Mazda. Now he's only got one lap to stay in P2 and hope that there's a mistake from Rob. Rob's done it before. Look back at Autopolis last season. We're heading to Autopolis this season, but later on in the season than we did last time. Fred into P3. Can he hold this podium? Philo, the first race winner, is on his way to try and chuck it up the inside. We've got a huge battle further back between three drivers. A little bit more as well, as he has a lad trying his hardest to get past Raccoon, but we're going to keep our eyes fixed at the top. Is Philo going to make it onto the podium from the back of the grid? It's possible, as I'm hitting all the wrong buttons, but I think Fred's got it. Currently, the last driver to finish is, sorry, the first driver to finish is going to be Fred. Sorry, not Fred, it's going to be Chris. Rob rounding the final... Learn to speak, man. Rob doing his best now, trying to stay ahead of Richie. The 44 car, emulating Lewis Hamilton. Can he do it as he tries it up the inside? Is he going to try it at the final corner? Not brave enough yet. What can Richie do, though, is he manages to spin his car around the right direction. And now he's going to see if he can get the line with the slipstream. I don't think he's going to do it. I think Rob is going to be our second winner of the J Series here in Fuji, and he is going to be the second winner. Rob wins ahead of Philo, who just beats out Fred. No, I think Fred might just have had it with... Oh no, Fred with a penalty is going to be in P4. Hatterlad is going to be in P5. P6 is Raccoon. P7 is 251. Just ahead of Chris, ahead of John. See if we can get John ahead of Cale, ahead of Wilson. Dylan Price, bring it. And further back, all struggles there. Rob wins. Need to get his helmet sorted. But Rob wins here in the J Series, gaining 5 positions. Well done to Rob. And now we can relax for just a moment's time as everyone goes flying down the pit straight for some reason. Oh, I'm exhausted now. That was a very aggressive race. Now we just had to wait. Richie saying that one more lap and he would have had him. I think that could have been possible. Definitely could have been possible. Hattler saying bumper cars. Well, that's what happens when you're in the grid, in the pack. You can't always have it your way and just finish at the top. So lots of drivers, I think, will be heading to the stewards later. But we'll just wait for the official word to see what time the next race is. The next race, I'm not sure. This was the endurance race. Well, this was the feature race. Definitely showed off some more feature. Lots of drivers giving up their worries there. So Chris saying that his setup fell apart halfway through. So he didn't refuel, and it all went wrong. That was fun. Yes, Richie is racing. Race at 10:02, so 4 minutes time. I'll leave you for just a few minutes as I take some time. Oh, you messed up your Aussie race, did you, Fish? Oh no, that's a shame. Never want to mess up Audi races. Come racing Toyotas. They never mess up these. All the drivers have been given a 2-minute warning as we head towards the final race of today. A 25-minute endurance race with a rolling start here at Fuji Motor Speedway. Well, 1 minute warning then. Drivers in the chat, as you can see, were discussing incidents from the previous race. Well, I won't say what I think, is the words I'm going to say. Don't know if anyone was taking a look at that, but 25-minute rolling start race. So the longest race of all three. So building up, we went from 5 minutes, now we got through a 10 minutes exclusion, just waiting for Fiona to check in. So once she readies up, we'll be ready to go racing once more, and for the final time here at Fuji Motor Speedway. So my phone's going off. There you go. Shows the tenacity and the amazing powers that are the initial commentary status of this team. Next week on the 30th, we're off to Coyote. I need to learn my Japanese for this series. So the final begins in a few seconds' time. Oh, crikey. Make sure we're actually on spectator mode. Then next we're off to Tokyo, so we are doing a street race in this series. Oh, yay, street races. So now for the rolling start. Fiona will lead us away once more as she did last race. Reverse grids on all of the second races, qualifying for one.
I'm rocking.
So Fiona will lead us away on the rolling start. This might help Fiona actually with the rolling start. 25 minutes of racing. We will see at least 2 pit stops, I believe, in this race. So Fiona leads us away. Fiona from Chris, from Dylan, from Wilson, from Kale, from John, from Chris, another Chris. I might be getting it wrong, who knows. So back to racing now here at Fuji. What can Fiona do in turn 1? Obviously everyone's already looking to do this lovely endurance style start to the races. And up into turn 1, and already riders Fiona. I think that she just doesn't mind where she finishes. Whoa, and a major mistake there from Dylan. So much more people struggling. So Dylan Price now leads the way after 2 corners and starting further down. Dylan Price looking to improve on where he's been doing it now. Track limits really don't exist in this race already as they all come filing through. Kale already battling hard with Wilson. Up the inside comes Wilson, and John trying his hardest to get through as well. And there you see, all these drivers are moving so quickly I can barely keep track half the time. Someone slow further back. Drivers all fighting as hard as they can. John is looking to make a move up into P2. And a penalty there for Kale already is going to seriously affect his race as he's 2 attempts left on the clock to resume. And what can happen now? As John is trying his hardest to get through, and all these drivers, remember 25 minutes of racing, don't bash and bump your cars too much on lap 1. I've got to save my voice at some point. Lap 1 is about to be completed. The previous 2 winners of the races are further down in this massive train of cars. Dylan Price though leads his way. Well, for how long as Rob is going to be further down the field, but Dylan Price losing out to Kale. And Kale still with a 1/10 penalty. There goes the penalty. Breaking a little bit early there. And Dylan Price trying his hardest to stay ahead of John. John is trying his hardest to get past Dylan and then heading towards Coca-Cola. Further back you see Fred versus Philo. Sorry, not Fred versus Philo, Fred versus the other car, the 66 car. The gold trim on that car shining away in the sunlight here for the final time at Fuji. And Fred doing his best to try and make his way through. There's a little bit of rear contact there, but nothing drastic. As all the drivers try their hardest to push on. So all these drivers, you see Rob battling hard now as Wilson tries to make a move. And I think Wilson has just made the move, or he's still under pressure from making the move. Then there's Richie in P11. He's doing his best to stay ahead of Rob. These 2 battled hard in the last race, and now they're going to be battling hard in this race. And there, everyone coming up the inside. It seems like it's a formation lap. It's not. Oh, and what can Rob do as he tries to look at passing Richie? Richie, who's on the run now to try and pass Wilson. He passed one, and can he pass another on this straight? And look at that line of cars as they all start to get a little bit freaky, trying to get their way through. Try and find someone to look at. There's John, there's Hatterlad, who's going to be under pressure from everyone. 3 wide into 1. Philo versus Dill Price versus Hatterlad. Who's got the better run there? It does seem to be a lot of bumping and bashing, but it does seem to be Dylan Price who did win out the 3-way battle. Hatterlad losing out heavily there. And Hatterlad is cutting across, doing the best he can in the 90 car. Dayglow red on that car as he tries to pop around the outside. Can't do it though as John leads. John leads out of that battle. But no, he drives it up the inside. That's the thing, lots of dive bombs so far in this series. Up the inside comes Raccoon, and John is just getting swallowed up by the field. It seems there must have been a little bit of contact there, and John is struggling there. More of these drivers are struggling now as they're trying to pass Hatterlad, and Hatterlad, they've been battling all lap now, and all these drivers, look how close the racing is. I can barely keep up. I see wide goes everyone, and John and Hatterlad are still going for it. There's Raccoon who's under pressure from Hatterlad, but Raccoon stays ahead. I don't know what Rob must be thinking right now, but let's go on board with Rob. What on earth was that from those two? Yeah, this is unacceptable to see those two doing that. And doing that in front of one of the leads. I'm sure that we're going to the stewards, but I want to say stupidity, but at the same time, how many moves do you want to make on the straight there, Raccoon? Very, very odd racing etiquette here between these 3 drivers. Rob trying his hardest to get through because we know he's a serial race winner, as we saw last time. He's doing his best to battle through, get through the pack. But this is what it's like in pack racing. You have to be aware of what's going on. There you see Philo battling hard with, I believe that's John. John trying his hardest to get up the inside. That would make sense, and John does make his way through. And Dylan Price, is the one under pressure. Philo is the one passing everyone. Philo leads here in the final race, the endurance race here. And what can John do as he tries his hardest to get through? Just bring that down. Didn't even notice that was up there. Up the inside pulls Rob, and he did do a very good job of getting through. So now up towards the hill climb-esque area, this quick, long, sweeping corner to the left, to the right, to everywhere. And Rob, there's John, and these two still with the very similar liveries with the blue. Oh, sorry, it was Kale and Rob last season that had similar liveries with the blue and the purple. Hatterlad now versus Rob on the start-finish straight. John helping no one out with the getting in the way. Is it going to be a Schumacher and a Hakkinen situation? We're heading into a 4-wide situation here at Fuji. Between 4 cars, all trying their hardest. Who's going to be the bravest man? Who's going to be the man with the biggest pair of cojones? I tried to remember what the thing to say. It was politically correct, so I've been told not to swear at this. Rob, oh, unfortunately a mistake. And he has just affected it all. John won out of all of that. And he's still ahead of Hatterlad, who is flashing him, put your shirt down, son, as he tries to get through. Lots of drivers battling through now and heading into endurance status. Now we're going to head into the second race time, which is 15 minutes left to go, and drivers will start thinking about having to pit after, I think, about 13 minutes of the race remaining. Hatterlad trying his hardest to pass John now. There's the 251 up the inside now if he can. That penalty for John is serious. He's under affect him there. And that, I think he may have guided Hatterland off the track a little bit there. Number 90 car is almost getting abused in this race. He's going to be ahead of John for just a moment, but I think John's going to have the apex in the inside line. He's going to ride him out wide and allow 251 to get up the inside. Wasn't really an overtaking opportunity there, but 251 tried to make it work. Bumping and barging between Hatterlad and John, but I think John was off on penalties. Let's go on board once more with Rob. We seem to be going on board with him a lot more. He's racing against John. Actually, let's go on board with 251. 251 getting a good view now of this. He's gone to slipstream. He's trying his hardest to get through. He's going to get it on Rob. He's going to bump him, so he's a little bit late on trying to overtake. Is he going to try and flick it to the right and chuck it at the inside? No, he's going to try and overtake him around the outside now. And he has not made it work. He cannot make that work in that corner. It's unfortunately put out by John, who managed to catch it. That's save of the day there from John. Little bit of lag issue there for one driver. One driver into pit lane already though. We'll see if we can work out who that is, I believe. I don't know. It's Wilson. Wilson and Dill Price into pit lane. And here, blue flags waving for Fiona. Let's have a look at her. Hello, Fiona. Fiona just enjoying being on track, as she said several times. I don't think there's 56 comments. I might be missing that up. So as we look further round, lots of drivers putting as much pressure on as possible. Hatterlad in P2 though, as he tries his hardest to think when his pit lane is going to be. Let's take a look at Philo though, in the yellow car. I'm very drawn to this car. I do really like that. Oh, there's a spinner. We got a spinner. Who was that? I think it was John. So let's try and catch what happened there. Onto replay now. So John, what happened here? Further back, you see, I think that was a... Oh, and a massive collision there between John and 251. Ah, so did 251 wait to let John through? He did. So that's the end of the recording there. Into pit lane though comes Philo. Man with the Carnage helmet is going to get his crew to look at him. And all of these drivers all looking forward to it. Last 30 minutes of the race to go. Seven laps completed. We will have 7 more, I believe, in this race. Fred now battling with Kale, as he so often did last season. Further back though at turn 1, there seems to be a nightmare going on. No, that's just... oh, I feel really bad saying that's just Fiona. I feel awful saying that. Richie now trying to pass Philo. Remember, Philo's in pit lane, has been in pit lane. I wonder if Richie has as well. We'll take a look soon. And thus we just wait to see what overtaking action we will get further on in this race. I do like these cars. I think they look amazing. Could have done with a slightly wider wing at the back, I think. Slightly wider wang, but it's alright. So we'll see Rob leading right now. Does he head to pit lane this time round? Excuse me, not yawning again. I'm not yawning because of the race. Oh, I'm sorry, Fiona. That's alright. There's no qualms about that. So into pit lane now pulls Rob. Aggressively kills that bollard. Oh, Bazinga almost misses it. Bazanga, sorry, almost missed it completely. So the blue flags are waving. Who are the blue flags for? Oh, was it for the drivers in pit lane? That's a bit odd. 11 minutes to go. Drivers aggressively into pit lane. I want to see what Hatlad does if he pits. He did not pit this time around. Always okay. Whether you need to leave the race at any point for anything else. Raccoon, interestingly enough, going for a different compound of tyres, going for the soft tyres on his Toyota. He's having a tyre change. Longer stop there as we drop further back. Let's take a look at who's on the pit straight, side by side. Bazanga versus John. What can John do as he tries to get through? And John is through the 12 car. Is through. Let's take a look at Fred. We haven't looked at Fred for a bit. Hi, Fred. Bye, Fred. Right, that's all we'll do. We're looking at Fred. Then there's 251 who's under pressure from Will. Fred should like that. Oh, hitting the entirely wrong button because I don't want that on there at all. Fred that seemed to ghost there very oddly. So we'll quickly check up with chat. No one in the chat. Chatting away. So the Dayglow orange car of Hatter is going to try and get into pit lane, I think, this time round. We'll see how he takes pit lane. See, the Toyota logos need to change, I think, on this car, because you just can't see them very well. I know it's the same arrangement for every car, but at the same time, it's, yeah. Does Hatterlad pull into pit lane this time round with 10 minutes to go? Doesn't look like he's committing to pit lane. No committing to pit lane this time round. Drop one position back. Rob versus Dylan Price now. What can Rob do as he tries to overtake Dylan? Remember these two raced last season with the Mazdas, but no qualms there. There's a little qualm there Rob had with the curve at turn 1, but not a major qualm. Let's drop back one more. Look at Kale versus John versus Bazanga and versus Fred. I end up just calling people Chris if I end up. Whoa! Someone's way wide. That's Raccoon. How did that happen? Raccoon has left the room. He's just gone off himself. Is that a steering wheel failure? That must be a steering wheel failure on his own part. It must be a failure. I wouldn't believe it. He's just done that on purpose because he's not winning the race. Some people do, but Raccoon is now off the race, unfortunately. Philo leading. Drivers unfortunately struggling in this race now. 2 drivers down. And now Rob trying his hardest to get up and inside. So Rob now finally making a move on Dill Price. Gonna have the motives, have the run as best he can to try and get up the inside. He is gonna have a good run now as the longer race is starting to come towards a close. It does seem, unfortunately, down to the longer races seem to struggle a lot more as all the drivers set into a rhythm. And Rob is through into P4. Now he goes chasing after Hatterlad. It's a Friday night here on SBR and I'm very much enjoying it. I hope you guys are too. If you're watching this and it's not a Friday night, then congratulations. What night is that for you? So, almost done now in this race. Drivers all putting as much pressure on as possible. Let's check out who's leading, and that's currently Philo. Is he going to head to pit lane this time round? I think we may see him consider it. Does pull into pit lane a little bit too aggressively. Richie doing it correctly. Let's check with Hatterlad, because he was one of the serial offenders in race 1, or race 2. No, he continues on. Interesting. Let's take a look at his fuel. He's still got a lot of fuel in this race. Could Hatalad be the winner of this race now due to it? So Hatalad now is going to be really looking forward to battling hard. As now you see drivers like Richie coming out pit lane. Is he going to come out just ahead of Rob? He's not going to. Drivers trying their hardest now to continue in this race. So the race is starting to come back together with different drivers trying to make moves on everything else. It doesn't seem like people are going to be able to though, with 5 minutes to go of this race. Hatalad leads with a 4-second gap ahead of Rob in P2, ahead of Philo who's in P3. Remember, Philo pitted from the lead into P3, so he's going to try his hardest to continue in this race and try and get further up. I think Philo's got the best chance of winning this race in hand. He's just got to pass Rob with enough time to go to catch up to Hatalad and pass him. I think Rob is going to have to give in to 65 car soon. Dips a wheel onto the AstroTurf there, and drivers really starting to put pressure on. Well, Hatalad does pit, and see, now that's what I don't like. Cutting in right at the end of pit lane, you can't do that. So Philo putting pressure on Rob. Rob is going to have to give in. Further back though, there's a huge moment there between Fred. All of these drivers wanting to put on as much as big a show as everyone else can do, as I can't speak English at all. And all of these drivers are showing everything they can do. So final couple of minutes, yellow flag ahead or behind. We'll see if we can find out who that was. Car stopped on track, not sure who that was. There is a car that's going slowly back there. Was that Till Price? Surely not. No, it wasn't. So as we're heading towards the end of the race now, the battle of the top is electric, but not as electric as the battle further down. And there you see weaving again from Hatalad. Now see, this is him committing to pit lane, and I bet he's going to cross back over onto the track. See, now that's not cool, because he committed to pit lane there, and he's coming over back onto the track. And see, it's just little things when it comes to racing like this that you can't do. So some drivers into pit lane, John and I think 251 into pit lane. Richie trying his hardest to get past Hatalad. And Hatalad doesn't seem to be looking at his mirrors very much, as we see Richie trying his hardest to get past. As we see the clock ticking down, 2 minutes 10 seconds, a battle for the podium heating up here, between Richie and Hatter. Philo looking to become our first repeat winner here in the J Series on race 3 here at Fuji, the final race at Fuji before we head off to the next track next week. Now we see what can happen. Is Hatalad going to still hold on to that inside there? Breaking hard into corners he is. 1 minute to go. We will get one more lap of this race. One more chance for Richie to make it through. What can he do now as he battles hard trying to get past Hatter? Remember, Hatter pitted a lot later than Richie, but Richie seems to have the better handle over the car right now. Through the final corner and aggressively weaving already for Hatter. See again, committed to both of these drivers have committed to pit lane, and they cross back over the white line, which in the rules of racing is illegal. So side by side there. Richie trying his hardest to hold his line. Hatter's moving just a little bit. Now towards turn 1. Who's going to be brave on the brakes? With 40 seconds of the race to go, and Richie goes up on the curve. That could affect him with a penalty. We'll drop back and quickly. Yeah, there's a 5/10 penalty there for Richie. 5/10 for Richie. He's going to have to clear that before the end of the race. I don't think he's going to be able to. And I think that means that Hattelad's going to have the podium. Oh no, Hattelad's made a mistake there as he's under pressure from Richie. Richie has cleared his penalty, and now side by side, the race is over. Philo is going to win the race in just a few corners time, but who's braver on the brakes? It's going to be, oh, and that's a bit poor there from Hattelad, who sends them both off track. Hattelad though letting him back through. No, flashing his lights once more. As we check up now. Philo going to come around the final corner. He is going to win this race in just a second. Going to power down towards the line. Going to do his best now. And he is going to do it. Philo, the first repeat winner of the J Series. He won race 1. He also wins race 3. Fuji is his track. The king of Fuji, we will call him now. As Rob wins the race to second place. Richie will finish in P3 ahead of Hattelad in P4. Kale in P5 ahead of Bradings in P6. Fred in P7 ahead of John, who's in P8. 251 is going to finish in P9. I refuse to say that name on stream. Can't make me. I'm not contracted to. If they don't like me, get rid of me. Simple. Ahead of Dill Price, who's in P10. Wilson is going to finish in P11. And then Chris already finishing in P12. Two non-finishers being Fiona and Raccoon, and that's all right. As they all struggled a bit in that race. Nonetheless, though, what an amazing little race we saw here today. Thoroughly enjoyed it. But our first repeat winner is Philo, who's going to be doing his best to continue this strain into the next race. Nonetheless, though, next week we're going to be off to a new track in Japan, and I hope you all have a great weekend. Enjoy all of the motor racing happening this weekend, and I hope you all have some fun. Have a great weekend, stay safe everyone in these very, very difficult times, and we'll see you again soon. Ta-ra guys!